Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Here I am out on the road today, and I am joined by my co-host, Kim Lantis. We're going to be recapping last week's show. Hi, Kim. Welcome.
Hey, Tulio. Good to see you again.
Today, I'm on the road.
And we just had Carlos
So, Kim, what are we recapping? Yes. We're always inventing something new. So what are we recapping this week? I think it was corporate travel discussion we had last week, right? You want to just recap what we're talking about?
Erasing borders and corporate travel?
That's right. Thank you. Erasing borders and corporate travel was the tagline where we spoke with Erin Kopp, the Global Strategic Partnerships Manager at a company called Visa HQ. And their product's actually pretty cool. Basically, what they help is corporations to facilitate the visa process for their employees, right? For those people who happen to travel often. What we learned is that each country has its own kind of rules and processes, and it can fluctuate quite a bit. And so it's very easy. It makes it very easy to kind of streamline that process and know the ins and outs and have experts on your side to make sure that the visa processing goes well for your employees. Of course, you're not allowed into a country when traveling without that visa. And there's some horror stories out there, right, of time and money lost and for people not being able to get where they need to go.
Yeah. I never really thought about this whole idea of planning for your travel and your visas, but I suppose if in a large company where there's a lot of traveling going on, it's very important to plan for those kinds of things. I found it interesting that they have a mixture of personalization, so they need technology to be effective at doing that, and also the fact that they provide more of a concierge kind of service, because this kind of thing does require that high touch point. And but it's kind of an interesting thing right now. A lot of companies are not letting employees travel because of what's going on with this coronavirus. It's an interesting time for sure, to say the least. Did something stand out for you, Carlos, during the conversation that we had?
Yeah, well, absolutely. One of the things that I found very intriguing, to say the least, is how I wonder how they keep.
You're on mute.
No, am I on mute? I'm not on mute here. Am I on mute?
I hear you just fine, Carlos.
Yeah. I was going to say that apparently I'm not on mute, but anyway. So what I think it's the really challenging part is how to keep up with the changes in government policies, because I mean you have a platform which is the one that Visa HQ has on place, which seems to be very convenient because you pretty much can apply from any country to any kind of visa and so on and so forth. But still, I mean, it's keeping up with the whims on the changes of the political side of the equation. I think that would be, especially nowadays, with so many things going on. I think for me, it's like, how do they do it? It's going to be a mystery for me. It's going to remain a mystery for me for a long time. Nonetheless, it's still exciting, and I look forward to figuring out how it works.
Right. I think the technology and the human side behind their product is certainly fascinating, but I think it goes back to this important point, and I think it's one of our recap points today, this idea of being proactive rather than reactive. And this is one of those areas, like you just mentioned, rules and regulations and things can happen, right, without us even expecting it. And I think that's the beauty of this type of product, and that they have certain types of alerts and different elements where they're, really offering this sort of personalized experience for their users. And I think that also goes back to this idea of what companies can be doing for their employees, and what types of tools they can be invested in to help make our lives easier. I mean, to have to be rerouted from airport to airport to airport, waiting in limbo with anxiety because, the visa is not processed yet, potentially missing huge meetings, and just the cost, and not only what you might be losing financially, but also just the emotional stress and the anxiety. So this is just an example of the type of tools that companies could be looking into and investing in, to really just show their people that they care.
Yeah, it really stood out for me. If you're a multinational, you definitely want to plan this well in advance. I think one of the great things that stood out was the idea of, set your, develop, have a list of the people that travel and put them together and create profiles for them, and in advance try to identify those countries they're going to be traveling into and get visas if you can, like business visas. For some countries allow you to visit in and out for a couple of years rather than waiting last minute where things can fall apart. You could end up missing your trip. So I found it interesting that they offer that capability so that travel managers can get ahead of this, and definitely the technology is there to personalize it and to continue to provide some value. So I thought it was good for any multinational that's listening. Definitely check them out. Visa HQ, right, is the name of the company that she joined us from.
That's right.
And that was pretty much all that I can remember from the conversation. And the key point, the key takeaway: plan in advance.
Plan in advance.
Plan in advance and stay up to date with technology trends, so you can use the platform properly, so you don't get all confused and all that.
Yeah, and I think just on that beautiful note, the subtitle or subtag of the talk was modernizing cross-border mobility with technology to promote the freer movement of people, ideas, and innovation. And I think it's easy to think that visas allow people to move from place to place. But if those people can't get there, then we're potentially blocking the movement of ideas and innovation as well. And so even though it's just a piece of paper, right, I think it goes much, much beyond that. And it's beautiful, right, to be able to travel around the world, spread your ideas, learn from other people. And Visa HQ is one of those companies that's helped making it easier.
Yeah, I mean, look, countries have borders, right, for reasons, and sometimes it's difficult to get in and out of certain countries, and some countries is a lot easier, but for employees, it doesn't have to become a headache, and that's really the takeaway. So if you're a multinational, check them out, plan your travel in advance with your employees, get ahead of it, and try to make their life a lot easier and less painful in terms of getting in and out of different countries. I think unless we have anything else, that's pretty much does it for today. What do we got coming up Wednesday?
Next week, we are going to be speaking with, let's see if I got the name right. Hold on one second. The name, we're going to be speaking with, hold on one second. Whoa, I see the wrong name, so I got to check back with Ruben on that. Okay, here it is. We're going to be speaking with Kevin, that's with that Kevin Chandrasekaran from, he is research and development engineer of BMW in Germany, and the topic is going to be about
that is going to be a very interesting topic for sure.
Stress at work, take the Rubik's Cube. So that's going to be the main topic for today from someone that works at BMW in Germany. So I look forward to seeing how they handle stress. And that's it for next week on Wednesday on Dojo. For this week, Wednesday, Dojo Live, 1 p.m. Pacific.
All right, then. We'll see you then.
I think that's pretty much it.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us.